Hey, what is going on, Guardians? TBL here. Curse of Osiris is live, but we just got the drop of Destiny Update 1.1.1. So let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Now, we know quite a lot of these changes have to do with some of the things that Bungie's been dealing with in the past couple of weeks, like locked content. Well, first things first, there have been some activity changes. They've brought the Prestige Leviathan raid back down to 300 power, making it accessible to all players regardless of whether or not Curse of Osiris has been purchased. They've also adjusted the Prestige difficulty rewards to no longer grant guaranteed 330 power items, and they've adjusted the difficulty for the normal Callus encounter. This was done in response basically to the Legend of Acreus quest and the Prestige achievement and trophy being locked behind the purchase of Curse of Osiris when both of those were originally completable and achievable in the base game for Destiny 2. So very good to see that kind of change go through. For Trials of the Nine, players who do not own Curse of Osiris may now access Trials of the Nine when a Destiny 2 launch map is the featured map for that week. Now, additionally in this patch, another big thing they've added was the Masterworks weapon system. Legendary weapons now have a chance to drop as Masterworks for characters who are above power level 250. Masterworks will provide bonus weapon stats and generate orbs on multi-kills. And they'll even come with a form of limited stat re-rolling. If you have 3 items called Masterwork cores, which you can get from decrypting Masterwork weapons that you've already earned, you can re-roll the stat bonus on a Masterwork weapon. You can also, of course, use 10 Masterwork cores in order to upgrade your favorite legendary weapon into a Masterwork weapon. The system is live. I've actually already gotten at least one Masterwork weapon from a simple engram I picked up from the Crucible, so get out there and earn those things. But speaking of engrams, let's move on to those. Legendary and exotic engram drop rates have been adjusted down for public events and up for strikes and Crucible playlist activities. This is kind of interesting because I'm not exactly sure what the numbers on it were, but it certainly felt like, at least since Curse of Osiris came out, my exotic engram drop rate for public events has definitely gone down. I've gotten something like 3 exotic engrams over the past week, and only one of those came from public events. So it's interesting to see that those have been toned down even further now with this patch, but it's been brought up for strikes and Crucible, which is good. It gives you more incentive to run those activities for these engrams. But speaking of exotic engrams, Xur now sells a 3 of coins consumable item that increases the drop chance of exotics. And he also now sells the item, the Faded Engram, the Isochronal Engram. This is an engram that's going to be partially dupe protected. So you can buy it, and the game is going to do its best to give you an exotic that you don't already have in your collection. This is a great change because it adds a couple of extra legendary shard sinks for you to spend that currency on. In other exotic news, they've given us a couple of bug fixes as well. They fixed an issue where the Vesper of Radius, the Helm of Saint 14, Graviton Forfeit, and Gemini Jester were dropping with incorrect class mods. If you happen to get any of those exotics, you might have noticed that they had mods on them that weren't quite in line with, say, what Warlock armor usually gets or with what Hunter helmets usually get. So it looks like they've fixed that issue. They've also gone ahead and nerfed the Prometheus lens. Rest in peace. It shone so bright and burnt out so quick. But we knew that one was coming. Next up, gift consumables are now on sale from Eververse and both Commander Zavala and Lord Shaxx in the Tower. Zavala now sells a Fireteam gift consumable that provides rewards to the user's Fireteam upon strike completion. And similarly, Shaxx now sells a Fireteam gift consumable that provides rewards to all players at the end of a Crucible activity. Zavala's boon will cost you about 10 legendary shards, while Shaxx's will cost about 25. And of course, not to be left behind, Tess Everest now sells a Fireteam gift consumable that will provide rewards to all players on strike or Crucible activity completion. And those rewards are generally going to be Eververse items. They cost, I do believe, around 750 bright dust. Now, additionally, with some of these faction leaders, faction vendors will now offer legendary gear for direct purchase with legendary shards and faction tokens. If you've earned at least 10 faction engrams from any of those vendor heads, so Zavala, Shaxx, any of the 3 main factions like the New Monarchy, the Dead Orbit, the Future War Cult, you'll be able to buy a specific weapon from them every week. That weapon's going to cycle out and be on rotation. So if you've reached at least level 10 with any of those factions, you'll have those items available to you for purchase today. Finally, of course, is the big change that came to Faction Rally. Of course, Faction Rally has been delayed until Bungie can ensure that it's going to be available to every player who owns Destiny 2, not just people who own Curse of Osiris. This was a change they made very late in the game, and so they had to postpone Faction Rally at least for a little bit. But it's going to be seeing some changes when it comes back. Players will no longer be able to loot the same chest multiple times in quick succession for Faction Rally tokens. That is, until the community finds something else we can exploit for that. They've also fixed an issue where Faction Rally tokens were not being removed at the conclusion of the event for some players. Faction Rally emblems now display the correct pledge tracker stats, and they fixed an issue where Faction Rally tokens were being removed from players' inventories when the players were creating a new character. And that's it for some of the biggest changes that come in Update 1.1.1.1. The rest is all kind of general miscellaneous fixes, like if you're playing on PC, they fixed the man cannon issue for the Vex public event, where if you were running the game at higher than 60 FPS, the cannon would kind of launch you straight into a wall and kill you. They seem to have figured out exactly what was causing that and fixed it. They've also apparently fixed the issue where caged chests would drop items underneath it, preventing you from picking them up and sometimes even preventing them from going to the postmaster. And of course, they fixed an issue that prevented the functionality of HDR settings for PS4 and PS4 Pro. So all you PS4 players can finally rejoice in the glory of HDR. But alright, there we go, Guardians. That's pretty much it for all the biggest changes in patch 1.1.1.1, the one after Curse of Osiris. This has brought a few changes to the game that I can't wait to try out for myself when I get back onto it. That's going to be it for this one, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to let us know what you all think of all these changes down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to drop a like and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with all of the latest Destiny 2 news, information, guides, reviews, and everything else. But I'm out for now. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, I am the Black Link. You Guardians, stay frosty.